Okay, I wasn't too happy with the stock setup out of the box for the Mini XRT, so I made some changes, just some tuning adjustments. As you can see, I did change out the tires for some Mini Max tires, so they should provide more grip. Also, it rained a bit earlier this morning, so the ground is nice and a little bit more grippy. And then I made just a lot of tuning adjustments that I'll cover at the end of this video, but we're going to try this thing out. I am also running it on 3S, so we got a bit more power, and yeah, it should perform a little bit better. Oh, okay. Looks like they're doing some construction around here. This thing is a beast. Still not running any TSM. Prefer not to. Possible. Tires are crazy grippy now. Almost too grippy, but they're working excellent. You can see it just kind of gripped and almost flipped. So much traction. But yeah, tons of fun. Whoops. Definitely drives much more like a truggy. The one part I did break before was these shock shafts, so I did have to switch them out. I bought the titanium nitride coated ones. Definitely a lot more durable and good idea as an upgrade, because that is kind of a weak point. It's always been a weak point on these shocks. But tons more traction, much more controllable. I basically was not able to line that up before. So these tires help out, tuning helps out, and the rain definitely helped out as well. Nice little double. 3S has got some rip, that's for sure. Still a bit difficult to line up. Just tend to wander a little bit. Getting some huge air. Whew. Thought I landed that, but decided to go for a last second double. Not always the best idea. It's a monster on 3S. Honestly, probably too fast, but what are you gonna do? Maybe the farthest I've ever driven a launched a car. That's pretty freaking far. There we go, quick little run on 3S. The Traxxas XRT performed admirably. Now we'll go through the changes I actually made to get it to drive a lot better. All right, so the changes I made to the Mini XRT are to help it drive a lot better. Most obvious change is going to be the Mini Max tires. So the sledgehammer tires do provide a lot more traction, especially on dirt. You'll find a lot more grip. That's one change I made out of the box. I guess would cost you money if you don't have a Mini Max. Second change I made was to lower the brake rate down to 90%, so out of the box is 100%. It has way too much brakes in my opinion on 3S. On 2S I think it's fine, but on 3S it is quite powerful. I would maybe even go down to 85%, 80% if you want to. I don't think there's any issue, especially if you're doing stunts and tricks in the air, just make it a lot more controllable. As you can see, I'm running a 3S pack with an XT60 adapter, so I do prefer the XT60 connectors. That's what all my mini scale stuff runs. Now, in terms of the tuning on the truck itself, we'll start with the shocks up front. I am running 32.5 weight up front, no spacers on the preload. I don't think you need any. And I'm running the middle position, so a lot more pack. Out of the box, the shock suspension just does not have enough damping. It does seem to be pretty bouncy, pretty springy. I think stock springs are fine, but a little bit thicker oil will definitely make it absorb those jumps and bumps a lot better. Rears, I am running the medium spacer here in the back, so I think there's 4 different sizes. This is the second to thickest, probably about 5 millimeters or so. But yeah, add a little bit of preload there in the back. It'll balance it out front to back. It does tend to sag a little bit in the rear. And then I'm running 30 weight shock oil in the back. So I think that's a pretty good combination. You could even go up to 32.5 if you want, but I'm running 32.5 front, 30 weight rear. You can see I'm also running the titanium nitride coated shock shaft, so that is one weakness with the Ultra Shocks. They do tend to bend. These are a lot more durable. They generally don't bend, so it's a pretty massive upgrade for like 10 bucks or so. So pretty easy upgrade. Does make a difference. In terms of the tuning on the vehicle itself, so I did actually move the motor mesh out 1 hole. It's got a 25 tooth pinion there in the motor, but I actually moved it to the 26 tooth mounting position, which is the widest out. That's the largest size pin you can fit. I did find the mesh way too tight out of the box. It's pretty much just jammed up against each other. Contributes to heat. Also contributes to a bit of noise. If you watched my first running video, it was pretty whiny out of the box. So yeah, I would back it out 1. Even on 3S, I think it holds up totally fine. There's plenty of tooth on those 32 pitch gears, so that works pretty well. Easy free change. And then on the diff, so I did actually lower the center diff fluid from the stock diff. I think it's like 20 or 30K out of the box. I dropped it down to 15. I'd even go a little bit lower. If you're popping it open on 2S, I'd probably run 10K. On 3S, maybe 12K. It just has too much of a lock diff action front to back. Having a little bit more freedom and more adjustment, or basically more ability to have different speeds front and back, allows it to land on the ground a little bit better, a little bit smoother in the power delivery. The wheelies are not quite as insane. It's just, especially on 3S, kind of a handful when you kind of got that lock differential feeling. You don't need super thick oils on these mini scales. I know 10 scale, 8 scale, you might run 100K or even higher, but on mini scale stuff, you can definitely get a lower diff fluid action. I think you'll find it drives a little bit better. So yeah, there are some quick changes, very simple, very easy fixes. They don't cost any money, maybe just the tires if you don't have that. But last thing I did was actually also run the Traxxas Link module here on the radio. Just makes it more easy to adjust things like the braking percentage and that kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully these tips help you out. If you got one of these and you're running on dirt, I would highly recommend making those adjustments. If you're bashing like I am, if you're just running up and down the street, it really doesn't make a difference. If you're just, you know, doing jumps off a ramp into grass or whatever, I don't think you're going to notice that much. But if you're actually running on dirt, doing like, you know, more real bashing, I think these changes will help you out. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe buttons. Look for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.